Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan Lugo. Thanks so much for tuning in here on Thursday, September 7th. The NFL regular season kicks off today. But more importantly for y'all, and for me, the Jaguars regular season kicks off this Sunday in Indianapolis at 1 p.m. The Jaguars will be taking on their division rival, the Indianapolis Colts. Fired up to get into it. This is our first Jaguars game preview of the 2023 regular season. We've done the preseason stuff, but now it's time for the real thing. I'm fired up to get into this Jaguars vs. Colts preview. Let's get into it here, all right? The Jags, they will be wearing white and black. Not my favorite uniform combination for the Jaguars. Not enough teal on there for me. But looking at the Jags traveling to Indianapolis for this Week 1 matchup, the Colts have beaten the Jaguars in Indianapolis in 9 of the last 10 meetings between the two squads. The last win for the good guys was back in 2017, and that fact is not lost on this Jaguars team. Doug Peterson has mentioned it to the team, mentioned it to the media as well. They are talking about it. They are making sure they're not looking ahead to a Week 2 matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs, the top team in the AFC and the reigning Super Bowl champions. The Jaguars are focused on this Week 1 matchup against the Colts, even though the Colts are not viewed as one of the top teams in the league this year. The Colts enter this contest with a whole lot of newness, especially when you talk about Anthony Richardson at quarterback. He will be starting for them. Obviously, Gardner Minshew, their backup. Shout out to Gardner over there. And Shane Steichen at head coach comes over from Philly, did a lot to help Jalen Hurts' maturation over the last couple years. Now he'll do the same thing, or try to do the same thing, with Anthony Richardson, right? No Jonathan Taylor. That's also new for the Colts, right? The last few times the Jags and the Colts have gotten together, the Jags' main goal has been to slow down Jonathan Taylor, and they've usually done a pretty good job of doing that. Not sure what the plan is with Jonathan Taylor and the Indianapolis Colts. He's on the PUP list until Week 4, but that looks like a messy situation from the outside looking in, no doubt about it. You got the owner and the agent getting after each other on Twitter, just not good over there. If you're a Colts fan, you wanted to see a rushing attack that featured Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor, right? That's what you wanted to see. You wanted to see Shane Steichen, who was able to get Jalen Hurts and his legs and his arm going over there in Philly, dialing it up for Richardson and Taylor. You're not going to see that. Now you've got Anthony Richardson and Deion Jackson, Zach Moss. Not quite the same, right? Not quite the same impact in the backfield there with Anthony Richardson. But we'll see how it plays out for the Colts, obviously. The Jags come in with massive internal and external expectations, especially on the offensive side of the ball. You've got people predicting the Jags to go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl, right? You've got a lot of folks, pretty much everybody out there, predicting the Jags to win the AFC South. So big expectations externally, but they have just as high of expectations internally. As soon as Doug Peterson stepped in the building back in 2022, coming off of that ugly season led by he who shall not be named, he told this team everything that he does is going to be to prepare them to play in February. That was last year. Then they make the playoffs, win a playoff game, go to Arrowhead, give the Chiefs all they can handle, and now they have real expectations within that building and externally. So the Jaguars, they are a 5-point road favorite in this divisional matchup. Over under of 45.5, so the implied score is about 25-20. So yeah, I think the Jaguars are the clear favorites to win this one. Let's get into it. The Jaguars offense versus the Colts defense, right? I think for the Jags, most of their starters returned from a year ago, right? You've got one big difference, though, on offense when you talk about the skill players, and that's Calvin Ridley. Ever heard of him? Jaguars' Trent Baalke made a heady move last year, right before the trade deadline, to get Calvin Ridley in the building. He's hit the ground running here in Jacksonville throughout minicamp, training camp, preseason. The connection between Trevor Lawrence and Calvin Ridley has been growing, and Calvin looks like the best receiver that we've seen in Jacksonville in a really long time. A true wide receiver one to complement Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram, all that's going on with the Jaguars receivers. You've got a lot there. You also have Anton Harrison entering the starting lineup, taking over for Jawan Taylor. Anton Harrison, the first-round pick in 2023. Obviously, having a rookie at right tackle maybe brings a little bit of wariness to the table, but in my opinion, Anton Harrison was a top 10 overall talent in the 2023 class. Had that grade on him way before the Jaguars showed any interest in him, way before the Jaguars drafted him. Huge fan of Anton Harrison. He looked good throughout the preseason, especially in pass protection. I think you'll be just fine there. You also have Walker Little in there for Cam Robinson while Cam Robinson is on suspension. For the first 4 games of the 2023 regular season, you've seen Walker Little take over for Cam Robinson several times throughout his young career already. I think you feel fine there as well. Ben Bartch is back in the starting lineup for the Jaguars at left guard. I think that's huge for them. He was their best left guard in 2022 prior to going down with that knee injury. He's back at full health. And you've also got Tyler Shatley, his primary backup, should be returning to full contact in practice, right? Should be able to participate, if not week 1, very soon thereafter. Then you've got some new role players, right? Beyond the starters, you got Britton Strange coming in here as your second-round pick tight end. Versatile tight end who can dominate as a blocker, both in line and in space. And he actually has a little juice as a receiver as well. Really solid hands. So I think you can get excited about that little element added to the Jaguars offense. Tank Bigsby to help out Travis Etienne in the backfield. Travis Etienne has unbelievable speed and explosiveness. He started to show more power throughout the 2022 season, but Tank Bigsby, he brings in plenty of power, and he has a side of explosiveness and speed as well. So I think that's going to be a really nice two-headed monster at running back for the Jaguars. You obviously also have Ernest Johnson and Jermichael Hasty, who can get the job done for you as well in the backfield. How does the Colts defense match up with this Jaguars offense? In my opinion, not well. I love their interior defensive line with DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart. I think that's just an awesome pair in the middle there. But I expect the Jaguars to handle their business on the interior. You've got Ben Bartch back, Luke Fortner going into year 2, and Brandon Scherff fully healthy, playing at a high level right now. And then you've also got the fact that the Jaguars offense is designed to get the ball out quick. Trevor Lawrence is able to get the ball out quick, had the second fastest time to throw in 2022. I think that's going to continue. You've obviously got Gus Bradley back, right, at defensive coordinator. I think Trevor Lawrence knows how to be patient, knows how to just take what's there against a Gus Bradley coach defense. The big question marks, right? Will Shaquille Leonard play for the Indianapolis Colts? He's kind of the heart and soul of their defense, has not played a lot lately, has been dealing with injuries. He's been in the concussion protocol, is still in the concussion protocol as of right now. He did practice fully, though, on Wednesday, so we'll see how that plays out. If he's unavailable, the Colts have a mess at linebacker. They've already got a mess going on in the secondary at cornerback with all the departures. You lost Stephon Gilmore. You also lost your second best cornerback to suspension, and then you ended up cutting him. They're gonna be in trouble when it comes to the corners, in my opinion, when it comes to covering the Jaguars' skill players. I think that Doug Peterson's going to dial it up. Trevor Lawrence is going to be able to find his guys, and the Jags are going to be able to put up points. How on earth do the Colts stop this Jaguars offense that ran roughshod over them in 2022, especially now that you add Calvin Ridley to the mix and subtract Stephon Gilmore and subtract your other starting corner? Gus Bradley, like I said, still the defensive coordinator. Trevor Lawrence has eaten his defenses alive the last couple of years. I really do like some of their young pieces on defense, and I love their defensive interior. Shaquille Leonard, if he can play, has been one of the best linebackers in the league when healthy and at full strength. I love Juju Brents they brought in out of Kansas State, but I just do not see them being able to compete at a high level and consistently slow down the Jaguars offense in this matchup. I really don't. They do have an ascending edge group too, but again, the Jaguars get the ball out quick. I think in order to really impact what the Jaguars are trying to do offensively, you have to win in a flash off the edge. I'm not sure that the Colts are going to be able to do that, even though I do like, Kwity Paye is an ascending player. They brought in Samson Ebukam, who I think is a good player as well. They got a couple other young guys that are kind of looking to take that next step, but I don't think it happens in week 1 against the Jaguars. I just don't know how they consistently stop the Jaguars offense. So if you're talking about the Colts competing in this ball game, they're going to have to score points against the Jaguars defense, in my opinion, right? I expect the Colts offensive line to play better, but they were awful in 2022. So what exactly does that mean? I'm not sure. I expect the play calling on offense to align with Anthony Richardson's strengths. I think they have quality pass catchers. I really do. I think Michael Pittman is underrated. I think Alec Pierce is underrated as well. And Josh Downs comes in as a rookie out of North Carolina. I think he's a fantastic young player. Pittman can do a lot of the dirty work, possession receiver type stuff, underneath stuff, over the middle. Alec Pierce can really get it going vertically, stretch the defense. Josh Downs can dominate from the slot whenever he gets up to full speed in this offense, which he might already be. I just think for me, though, it's going to be difficult for Anthony Richardson to be consistent enough as a passer for the Colts to keep up in this one. He has all the talent in the world. He's a smart kid. He manages the pocket really well, maneuvers throughout the pocket, but accuracy is still an issue. Decision-making is still an issue. I think seeing the field, especially against a Mike Caldwell defense that has a lot of moving parts, it could be really difficult for Anthony Richardson in his first NFL start. So I'll get into my score prediction later this week, right? But I'll tell you right now, I'm taking the Jags straight up, and I'm taking the Jags against the spread in this one. They look like they'll be a well-oiled machine on offense, in my opinion. And they have a defense that forces turnovers and has talent on every level. Even if some of that talent has a lot to prove, they have the talent. Trayvon Walker, Devin Lloyd, first-round picks in 2022. A lot of talent elsewhere as well. Even if they have a lot to prove in pass coverage and as a pass rush unit, I think that they will prove to be good enough to stop most teams in the NFL from scoring 30-plus points against them, right? And I think the Jags offense is going to be flirting with 30 points almost every week. You add in the turnovers, you add in their ability to stop the run, which they've done at a high level. Now, I do think that Anthony Richardson and his legs presents some challenges. I think that you'll see Anthony Richardson make plays in this ball game. I think every week you're going to see him make at least 5, a handful of unbelievable plays, either with his arms, legs, or both, and really, show why the Colts valued him so highly, why they took him in the top 5 of the NFL draft. I just don't think it's going to be consistent enough to really to win this ball game and to win a lot of ball games in 2023, especially with what they have going on the defensive side of the ball. That back end, even if they like some of the young guys, I think it's just not enough back there in the secondary for the Colts. They just have too many questions, a rookie quarterback, a rookie head coach. I think they have a chance to really turn things up down the stretch, potentially, in 2023. And, maybe in 2024 they could be competing if they're able to shape this roster around Anthony Richardson a little bit more. But for me, it's just way too early to pick them. I also think in the third phase, the Jaguars will have a nice day. Jamal Agnew, one of the best returners in the game. Logan Cook, one of the best punters in the game. Insert Brandon McManus. There's a whole bunch of talent there. You've got a bunch of special team studs as well. Guys that are excellent gunners, get the job done in 4 core special teams. Caleb Johnson still on the roster, Shaquille Quarterman, Daniel Thomas, Andrew Wingard. A lot of really good special teams players for the Jaguars. Jags get their first win in Indy since 2017. This has been our game preview. We will get into matchups to watch, bold predictions, all that fun stuff. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. Think the Jaguars should have a nice Week 1 opener for y'all to be able to celebrate on Monday, get a victory Monday. But again, thank you so much for being here. Hit me up on Twitter at Jordan DeLugo. You can follow Generation Jaguar at Generation Jag. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you want to support the channel further, you can check out genjag.com/shop and pick up some new Duval gear. Y'all have a good one.